Hello my friends, it's Gabriel with the Last Huntsman Outdoors here. Now, I'm going to start this video off by saying, I know times are getting hard. I'm feeling it just like everybody else is. Your money's not going as far. We're kind of not only dealing with record inflation, but quite frankly, in my humble, strong opinion, we're kind of witnessing the collapse of the American empire. I hate to say that, but I think we all can see it. However, with that being said, everybody, I think, should have a great knife. A knife is mankind's first tool. I think you should have a really good knife. And so because of that, your money is not going as far and all that. So I want to show you guys 3 awesome knives. All 3 are an 80CR V2 steel, which is an awesome steel. And all 3 of these are under $100. All right, so here I have 3 knives. All 3 are right around the 4.5 inch range. So all 3 of these would make just an awesome companion belt, or even if you want to, an EDC fixed blade. This is not outside of range for me to EDC. I actually EDC a knife about the same size. And all 3 of these are made of 80CR V2 steel, and all 3 of these are under $100. Let's list these off. We have the Stolica Trava Jaakaripuuko 110. Yes, a pretty long name for that one. It's made in Finland. We have the Very Good Knives, or Very Good Knife Company, Falcon, which is a nice little Wharncliffe blade. I think Wharncliffes are way underrated. And I have the Demko knives, Armiger 4. Let's just do a little bit of testing. Oh, also, I'd like to show you guys the sheaths for each one of these knives. The Jaakaripuuko 110, at least the one that I got here, came with this Boltron sheath. This is actually an awesome sheath. I'm pretty impressed with it. It works with most of your standard mounting options, so you can put a tech lock, or I even put a SE4 belt clip on here, and it worked perfectly. I took it off for whatever reason. I don't know why. I'll end up putting it back on. The Very Good Knife Company came with this Kydex sheath with just kind of a belt loop. However, with all the mounting holes here, you could easily put like an ulti clip or whatever kind of mounting options you want. And then the Demko knives Armiger 4 came with this sheath, which it's actually kind of a neat concept. It's it works either left or right-handed. It's ambidextrous, and I can't even talk right now. It can come apart, so you can actually clean it. And it came with this kind of drop loop thing with a snap and Velcro. I'll probably end up changing this out on this one, because at least for me, it does have a lot of mounting options, so that's pretty awesome. But I actually think this sheath is a little big for the size of knife. All right, so I have our 3 knives here. I'm going to baton each one of them and just kind of get a feel for each one. I'm going to caveat this with, I think each one of these are an amazing knife. The only one that's American made is the Very Good Knife Company. The other 2, this is a Taiwanese made, and the Jaakaripuuko is Finnish, or from Finland. This one has kind of a high saber grind. And it actually batons pretty decently, obviously for a 4-inch knife. Try the Jaakaripuuko. It's the biggest of the 3 here. It's a 4.5-inch blade. Now, 2 of these are actually hidden tang knives. So this has a hidden tang and this kind of over molded handle with the tang sticking out here. This one is the same thing, a hidden tang with the tang sticking out with an over molded handle. So the Very Good Knife Company is the only one that's a true full tang. I don't have a problem with any of them. Overmolded handles do kind of have their own pros and of course some cons. Obviously you can beat up the kind of rubbery stuff if you beat on it with a baton or whatnot, but I mean these aren't going to be, you know, just super beat the shit out of them type of knives anyways for this size range, so that shouldn't really be an issue. And overmolded handles, they do kind of work well when it's cold and your hand doesn't transfer as much of the cold. Try the Falcon here. It's the smallest of the three here. It's like 3.75 if I recall right, so it's a little under, it's about a 1/4 inch under a 4-inch blade, which that might be what you're looking for. And it also has a hollow grind. It's not like super hollow, it's just slightly hollow, but I've been using it and it holds up very well. Is 80 CRV2 steel. Gonna be pretty amazing. And there's that. Alright, so another thing I'm going to test out with each of these 3 blades is I'm going to just see if they all have or don't have a 90-degree spine. Armiger 4. Oh, wow. I was not expecting that. I mean, I felt like it had kind of a sharp edge, but it has the coating, so I was assuming that the coating would stop it from striking a ferro rod, but it don't only strike a ferro rod, but it actually does it fairly decent. The Demko Armiger 4 continues to impress me quite a bit. All right, we got the very good knife company Falcon, and test out the 90-degree spine on it. Okay, I would say it's a little better than the Demko. However, this is uncoated and that is coated, so if I uncoated that one, it probably would be on the same scale. Now, this one, it almost doesn't look like it has a 90-degree spine because it kind of has like a bevel. However, it doesn't only have a sharp spine that can strike a ferro rod, but this, the Jaakaripuuko, actually strikes a ferro rod better than the other two. This one throws some sparks amazingly well. Here I have the Jaakaripuuko. I'm going to just try to do some feathers with it. Now this one does have kind of a modified saber grind, or not a modified saber grind, it's kind of a saber Scandi hybrid almost, which generally, as you guys all know, I'm not a big Scandi guy. However, I actually like the grind on this knife quite a bit. So this one does some pretty decent little feathers and slicing. Let's try the Falcon here. Let me see if I can go. Okay, the Falcon has a really fine little edge to it. Once you kind of get used to that hollow grind, then it works really good. I always find myself having to kind of teach myself to use a hollow grind and or a convex grind. Sometimes I even find convex grinds a little harder to use. That made some really fine little feathers there. Now let's try the Demko Knives Armiger here. Demko Knives Armiger, something to take note on is the handle is symmetrical. So it does have these little grooves on the back here, jumping to kind of help you index it well. But sometimes if you're not really paying attention, you can end up grabbing it like this and not realize, which is good and bad actually. Having just the same grip helps you, you know, work that sharp spine and stuff like that. Do all kinds of tasks. This knife is actually doing pretty good feathers as well. I will say with the Demko Armiger, right out of the box, I was not impressed with the edge. I ended up having to reprofile the edge a little bit on this. It wasn't too hard. ADCR V2 steel is an easy steel to work with. However, for a $75 knife, or sub $75 knife, it's not too bad of an issue to worry about either. But all three of these are going to be decent little slicers. I will say I think the Falcon was probably the best of the three. All right, so another thing I'm going to talk about is I'm going to talk about the ergonomics on each one of these knives. I'm going to start off with the Jaakaripuuko 110. The ergonomics on this is actually really good. Has a good guard on there. Your hand's not going to slip on it with that rubberized handle and that guard. This could actually be a decent little soldier knife if that's what you need it for. Actually, the finish, a lot of the Finnish guys I've seen training are carrying these, or even the bigger brother to it. And so this is an awesome little blade. Like I said, the ergonomics has pretty deep Coke bottle shape to it. It fills my medium-sized hands pretty well. Go to the Armiger. Now the Armiger has still kind of that Coke bottle shape. It has kind of like a dagger kind of looking handle. It's symmetrical on both sides. So as I mentioned earlier, it does feel good holding it both ways for whatever kind of task. However, it is kind of slim. So if you have like huge ogre hands, this might not work for you. I would almost, if you had huge ogre hands, I would almost suggest the 110 over this one, just because this handle is a little slim. It fits my medium-sized hands pretty decent, but you know, it is a little slim. It does have a really good guard, so if you're wanting something for like EDC tactical and or self-defense type of thing, or you're a soldier looking for, you know, a blade, this would probably, this and the Jaakaripuuko would probably be the two to consider. The Falcon, it's obviously micarta. It's the only true full tang one here. It's also the thickest one here too. I didn't even think to mention that, but the other two are 5/32 thick roughly, and this one is right around 3/16 thick. So this one's definitely going to be the chunkiest little blade here for sure. Ergonomics, it's really good. It fills the hand decently well. It's a little on the slim side, but it reminds me kind of like how you would hold like the Exodus knife and tool, Jackalope or Adventure Craft. So kind of more of like a finger grip more so than like a solid palm grip, but it still feels really great. It doesn't have the deepest guard, so if you are going to use this for like EDC self-defense, I would definitely suggest putting like a thumb on there and trying to like do more of a handshake grip to try to prevent from slippage. Or if you're reverse gripping it, definitely like put your thumb on the top of it. And all three of these knives, like I said, are ADCR V2 steel. All three of them are under $100, and all three of them are kind of that EDC / belt knife kind of size knife. And I would highly suggest all three of these knives. I would actually suggest all three of these knives over even like the Cold Steel SRK, which I know the Cold Steel SRK is like probably one of the cheapest knives that I would suggest. But if you want just kind of a step up, but not spending as much as like an Essie or something, then I would definitely consider one of these three. All three of these are great. I think they're all going to kind of serve different purposes, but they all can perform the task that you need them to on a budget, really. And of course, like I said at the beginning of the video, I get it. We're all kind of feeling the struggle. So if you're wanting a good knife that you could trust your life to, I'd definitely check out the Jaakaripuuko 110. The very good knife companies, Falcon. Now, something else to kind of take note on the Falcon, he has like 4 or 5 models that are all kind of in the same size range. So if you don't like a Wharncliffe, definitely check out Very Good Knife Company, because he probably has something that is your flavor. He has some just classic drop points, some clip points, you know, so just pick your flavor with that one. And then of course the Demko knives, Armiger 4, awesome little blade, and I'll be doing a full review on each one of these, so this is just kind of a quick little comparison. But with all that being said, be prepared both physically and spiritually. God bless, and carry on.